whatever you're paying
Okay,
taxes to.
so then the question of like why like you have a lot of people who are homeless,
Hmm.
so they can just go camping to live off the woods.
I mean, you might say they camp every night.
No, but they can. Like so building
Yeah.
a house, more housing is not necessary. Like you can't have some people who just go into the camp, like in the woods, but like they camping in the city streets. Like the choice, like people choices build consequences, and unfortunately, you have some people who don't have as many choices of others. But
Mhm.
quantifying like how much you're supporting society's um, misguidance is pretty arbitrary to me
Well,
at this point.
it's not arbitrary because there is, like, we're talking in the context of finance, and that is a literal, tangible value that is not only is it tangible and like
But
real, but it's tracked. It's
you
tracked
stated
and
like
recorded.
I can't imagine like the people are spending $50 million that doesn't like mean anything or value anything.
Hmm?
That's what you said earlier.
Uh, I'm gonna need a refresher. I didn't understand what you said, but I also don't remember saying something like that.
So like we were just talking about like what would you spend like $100,000 on a blah blah
Hmm.
blah, and then you was like yeah some people would spend $50 million
Yeah, on a
on
Rolly, on a watch. Yeah,
yeah, but and you saying
and
like
I'm
the
saying that's
item
not valuable.
yeah.
Yes, I
So
think a
like
$50 million watch is not valuable. Correct.
so in my stance is you're saying like money is a tangible thing, but I'm in
Mhm.
my point of view like money doesn't mean anything. Like people putting value into these things, like people putting value into society, like money, like the dollar bill is literally it doesn't exist. Like
Well, it
currency.
does exist, and it has an actual value, and the value is human lives. That's the point that I'm making, right? Like you can say the dollar doesn't matter, but if you have 100,000 of them, you can do things. Whereas if you have zero of them, you cannot do those things.
But the
It
value
like it
of
has the
it
value.
really is not
Yeah,
comparable to
it
like
is just a
no
piece of paper, correct?
like like in realistically speaking of like like stock market drops or whatever the fuck like and then
Hmm.
all of a sudden currency just changes to whatever like aliens came down like I can put up these hypotheticals of just like all right in what situation where society's currency is just not a real currency like water food or basic needs that should not be I will
Yeah,
say like as far as human lives go we shouldn't put restrictions for somebody that have basic living.
correct. We agree on that for sure. I think people shouldn't have to pay for housing, shouldn't have to pay for food, not to pay for water. Correct.
So housing that like everything is market. It's market. Like everything it
Yeah,
has a market.
yes, prices do get resources from one place to another, but okay, like yes, but also when we spend $50 million, when those same prices are used to give LeBron
Let's not
James
talk
a
about
house,
like the 1%. Let's not speak
but
about the one
that's
percent.
where the capital is. That's the point is the labor that it takes to build the houses, that it takes to get the food from one place to another, right? The money, right, is an abstraction of labor. Can we agree on that? Like the dollar bill is an abstraction of some
But
amount of
like when you
labor.
bring up LeBron James, like he wasn't born at
I'm
before.
not saying LeBron
Like
James caused poverty. That's
no,
not what I'm
no,
saying.
yeah, but you saying he can do a lot more.
I'm saying he does
Yeah,
uphold
he's not the
the
only bad
poverty
actor though.
system.
He's just an example.
Yeah, he's not the there's a million, there's hundreds of thousands of bad. We are all bad actors in the system effectively because we support the system, right? The problem though is that like we
Being a
can't
cog in a
not support the
machine.
system. We can't not support the system. I'm not saying that like again, this is what I'm not saying. Don't stop eating Starbucks. I'm not saying don't not buy the iPhone.
You
It's
said consume
impractical.
less. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
saying consume
consume
less.
less because you don't need to watch TikTok for 8 hours. You don't need to buy Starbucks 7 times a week, and that's kind of the world we live in today, right?
Yeah,
Where
but
like
like that's what
you
I was saying.
go and you
Like
eat
that at
out
that
a
point,
bunch.
that's subjective. Like
It is subjective, correct? But I think it will
because
objectively make
like
society better. That's
LeBron,
what I believe.
I can't say like I would say like LeBron James would agree like he probably doesn't need $100 million house, but it is nice.
Yeah, I won't disagree. I'm not saying anything
agree.
about the nicety of it. Yeah, the standard of living that LeBron has is probably really, really good, right? But that standard of living costs lives. And LeBron James may think about it, he may not. But that doesn't change the fact that it does cost lives. People are actively dying while he has a $100,000 house when he could be saving lives instead of having a $100,000 house. That is a fact.
In what way can he be saving lives?
He could not have a $100 million house. He could have a $1 million house, which is still a nice house, believe it or not. It's a very, very
But, like,
nice quality house. And take
does him
$99
having
million
100
and buy an apartment complex and literally house 1,000 people. When people are homeless, they die. That is a fact.
Like, I just can't. Me personally, I can't fault. Like, that's you putting a fault on LeBron.
I'm
James,
not.
that he's
Look, I would
doing more.
not go to listen. I would not go to LeBron and be like, "You're a terrible human being because you're not saving lives." I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna
no.
do that
I didn't. I'm
because-
not saying you saying LeBron James is bad, but I'm saying you putting fault on like he could be doing more.
But he not.
like, I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know. But I would say like what he's doing, he's doing some good. But I'm not gonna say like he could be doing more, because that's what I'm saying. That's a fault, and that at that point that's arbitrary. Because at that time, what you're saying everybody can be doing more.
But they not though.
But it's not the
I'm not
reality.
saying that-
Everybody can be a decent fucking person, but the sad
But that's not
reality
practical. Correct. I agree. I agree
It's
that
not
that is not
there.
practical. But the point of giving the solution of consume less is not to say that everybody that I say it to is going to consume less. The point is to put the idea into their head so that they think next time that they go to Starbucks, do I need this? That's the point. Is to get people to critically think. That's like the point is not actually to say go to Starbucks less. The point is to say think about when you go to
thinking
Starbucks
about
what
like
happens.
most people don't have that ability to critically think.
I think that is not inherent. I think that is the society we live in, and the only way to get people to critically think is to tell them to critically think.
Honestly, I don't know about like that's a learning thing though. Like I don't know. I don't have enough experience. On that
I know.
wisdom.
I've met and talked to people I think are dumb, and I have said words to them, and I can see they had a new thought. That has happened in my life, and that is why I believe that people, even people I think are dumb and do not do a lot of the critical thinking, I think they still can critical think, because I've seen it happen. That is a
Yeah, but you can
anecdotal
see it happen for
experience?
everybody. Yeah.
yeah, it's an anecdotal experience, but like if I don't think that me saying the words would have a positive effect on the people around me, then I would not say them. That's
Yeah.
why I say what I say.
Agree.
And that's why I say consume less, because I believe that when I say consume less, you'll think about it next time you go to Starbucks and be like, damn, do I need to buy this fucking old-fashioned donut, or could I maybe just go home instead and eat beans? All right.
And
Do
eat a bowl of rice.
or yeah, eat a bowl of rice and some beans, and maybe stir fry some vegetables, right? And instead of having an $8 meal, I could have a $2 meal, right? And save those $6 for something that's maybe a little bit more meaningful in the world.
Like what?
I don't know, another meal, right?
So like consuming what you need and consuming less.
Well, because the
I
thing,
bet-
like when I say consume less, it's not even like you consume only what you need. It's just consuming less of what you don't. You're still going to overconsume. It's just reducing the amount of overconsumption, right? Like, like
Great.
let's say, right? Let's say everybody in the world, goes to eat out on average 6 times a week, right? Like think about how much money that makes McDonald's and Starbucks and all the 4 companies that own all those companies, right? Like the amount of money that they would make, that they would be able to have to exploit the workers that they have, right? To pull the technology out of the Congo, right? Is just less. They have less ability to do that, right? Like when Apple makes less money, they can buy less cobalt. That's just how that works.
But when that money reaches the hands of certain individuals, you putting the fault on them, saying they can be doing more, when those people are just doing it out of greed and power.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, Tim Cook could do more for society, correct?
so, and that's why like, I'm not getting confused, but it's like you're saying like these people can be doing a lot more, but you're like, all right, for these people to do a lot more, other people got to do less of consuming these products. So like,
Well, that's how I
until
can.
they start
Yeah,
doing
that's how.
more.
Look, so if I go and talk to Tim Cook, and I'm like, "Hey, Tim Cook, can you give some more of your money to people who don't have it because they're dying?" Like, he's not gonna do that. I have no like. Even if I were to sit in front of Tim Cook, which I think is very unlikely, he's not gonna do that. But what I can do, like my actions that I can take because I'm an autonomous human being, is I could not buy the iPhone 15, right? And that puts, 15 less cents in Tim Cook's pocket, however much, he puts in his pocket. And now Tim Cook has 15 cents less to fucking kill people in the Congo, right? That's just a fact.
hold on, I gotta go pee.
But yeah, now I hate Tim Cook because of that analogy. I like Tim Cook less.
Batteries, man, not easy to make.
True. Side note, actually, so today I was thinking about like, man, it would be nice to live out of a van
Ooh.
with.
Sorry, 205 Haven City.
Oh
205.
shit! Was that normally like 230? 205
Yeah,
is
I'm usually in the
cracked.
230s. That's fucking nuts. It's 30 seconds saved. Oh my god.
What is it? Elemental engineer?
Yeah, Elementalist. I'm recording. I
Dude,
was
he's about
recording
to be
this
an
whole
element. He's like,
conversation, and
That's-
I
Okay, I'm back.
I have these recordings saved under good combos.
let's
on
go.
my-
So-
Let's
on my
go.
computer.
So like,
This
all
one
right,
might
so
be on YouTube, Malik. I'm,
oh,
gonna
I'm
let you know.
sorry. What? This conversation?
Yeah, because I might PB. I'm recording
Oh,
my
okay.
gameplay.
Oh, okay, my bad, my bad. So, like, all right, Jordan, you sound like consuming less. Like, if somebody doesn't have to drink coffee every day, they can do it one day out of the week, and that would be a lot better than what they was doing
Well,
previously.
Right, and it's not
Right.
necessarily. Again,
However-
I want to reframe it a little bit. It's like not consuming coffee, but not going to Starbucks to consume coffee.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's what I'm talking about when I
Yeah.
say coffee, like
Okay,
Starbucks
okay.
in general. But that's
Yeah, and
still
I would say
brand
even the
recognition.
framing of you saying coffee is Starbucks is the propaganda, right? That's the propaganda right there.
Okay,
Because Starbucks
true.
is not coffee. It's
But
Starbucks.
I was just saying that coffee in general, just because you kept framing
Yeah,
Starbucks.
right. I understand.
But like that's what I meant, like wholeheartedly. That's what I meant. Starbucks.
Okay.
Like Starbucks coffee, and I would say at the same time, it's not necessarily just how much you consume. It's again what you mentioned, propaganda and brand recognition. So the fact that you use an iPhone on a daily basis, stating you're supporting that social
True.
society, you
I need Tim
genuinely
Cook some
do
money.
not need a smartphone at all.
1 second, Okay, continue. Sorry.
So like you don't need a smartphone whatsoever. Like you can literally preach what you're trying to, not trying, but like what we speaking about right now to like everyday people you walk by without a smartphone, without any brand recognition of like
True.
branding on your like the clothes you wear, the merchandise that you consume, like the music you consume, because at that time like you would be practicing what you're preaching.
Correct. Okay. And so you've heard me say multiple times, my point is not to say don't consume. My point is not to say don't go to Starbucks. My point is not to say don't buy the
Yeah.
iPhone. My point is just to consume less, right? It's like that's the solution. There's multiple reasons
But-
for this, but it's like it's
No,
because
no, no, no,
it's
no, no,
not
no.
okay.
I think you're missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying what you're doing is like too much or too little, but I'm saying like at that point, what would you quantify of like doing less? Because in the grand scheme of things, I'm saying like you're saying like all right, LeBron James can be doing more,
Mhm.
or he can be doing less. Like it's like who am I to say like he can be doing more or less? Like compared to like a nigga who's only making like 20K a year, and I can just go to him and be like, hey bro, you can be doing a lot more for society.
Yeah. Okay. So like, okay, I agree that I will agree with everything you just said, but I feel like the framing is the problem. Like for one, LeBron James doing less or more was going to have more impact than the guy who's making 20K doing less or more, whether it be good or bad, better or worse, whatever the change is. LeBron James has more things that he can change that will affect society more. That's one problem of the framing that I want to acknowledge. The other problem with the framing is that like I'm not gonna go to either person. I'm not gonna go to LeBron James. I'm not gonna go to the guy with 20K and be like, hey, you could do more. You could do less. You could change your actions to make society better or worse. I'm not gonna say that, right? Because I don't think that would actually be inducive of anything. That's just going to make them feel bad or make them feel good either way. But like, that's not, like, again, that's not the point of what I'm saying, right? The point is that, like, I want everybody individually to acknowledge what they could and could not be doing, and then decide for themselves what they should or should not be doing, right? I'm not here to decide what you should or shouldn't do. I'm here to show you that you could.
You bringing
be
up the
doing something else.
conversation.
Exactly, right? That's like,
But
that is the point.
with you bringing up the conversation the way you did, you could be saying you framing the conversation into like leaning a certain way though.
I mean, yeah, because like personally, I want people to do more for society. I want society to be better. So of course, I'm going to be biased in how I frame it a little bit. But again, I did precursor. I have precursored multiple times that like my point is not to say like what you should or shouldn't do, or like what you do is good or bad. It's
And
that
all I'm saying
these
is,
are the realities of the world.
And all I'm saying is the reality of the world is it's just unfair, bro. Like,
Yeah, correct. It is very.
it's unfair
very
that LeBron James was born to be like 6'10". Like,
True,
like,
it is unfair.
And,
then
I can't blame him for
make it more unfair.
capitalizing on his gifts and his strengths. And I can't blame him. And I can't be like, man, like LeBron James, like he capitalized on like really supporting what he can do very well. Some people just take those gifts and, you know, like just go like, you know, just take them for granted, right?
Yeah, they squander. Yeah, they squander their talents, right? They yeah, you know. And like, okay, so I understand. I agree, but like, I also think that like, sure, it's unfair, but like, given a different framing, it could be unfair in like a negative light, right? Maybe there's a sport that's more popular than basketball, right? Where it's like it's actually better to be short. It's actually better to be 4'11"
Like
for that sport.
Right?
Exactly, right? So it's like, this is why I don't like framing things as good or bad, because it's subjective, right? Like if I live in a society where jockeying is more important, if I live in a community where jockeying is more important than playing basketball, then me being 6'10" is fucked. I can't be a jockey. My shit is ass. But like,
and I'm not saying like on the grand scheme of like you're saying like we don't just value, like as a human race we should just value like people just to be people.
yes.
And to be honest with you, bro, people suck. Like, so like,
I think there's reasons for that, but yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, like there are reasons for that. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if like an asteroid hit the planet tomorrow, this is on a grand scheme. So let's go.
Damn, we're on YouTube, guys. Hello,
12,
YouTube.
12:26.
Hey,
Dude, he's just shaving.
Damn.
He's cutting it off. He's chunking. He's chunking the runs.
you doing a Roboquest? Damn.
He is.
Dude,
He's the best Roboquest speedrunner
That's
right
faster than my engineer time.
now. He's just an elemental runner now. It's official.